All right, so when it comes to food, I like obviously the freeze-dried food. It's lightweight, you can carry a lot of it. It just takes water to rehydrate it. It can be either hot or cold. The neat thing about these Mylar packs, and the reason I chose this one, is because it's resealable. So if I wanted to, change it up and not have to open it up and then eat all the vegetable beef in here, I can switch it up and have mac and cheese the next night and then reseal it. And even resealed, it's going to be good for a year after resealing it. But this has a 25-year shelf life on it. So it's real important. Like I said, this whole package right here is going to be about a little over a month and a half worth of food for me at around 2,500 calories. To supplement it, I have this. This is a new source that I've just found, and it is canned meat. Now the great thing about this is the can itself is heavy duty. When you're rotating your foods, most canned foods is very thin. Their tolerances are very, very, the mil spec is really thin. So the food, if you had it out there a year or so, will tend to seep through. This is heavy gauged metal, so it's going to last a lot longer. It's actually meant to last about 15 years shelf life, which is really unheard of. I mean, only thing in here is salt, the juice that it's actually cooked in. It's slow cooked, and I believe it's 260 degrees for like 8 hours. So it's kind of like crock pot cooking, but it's going to hold its nutritional value. And it's real meat. It's not soy that pretends to taste like chicken or beef or whatever. This is real turkey. I have turkey, I have beef, I have pork, and chicken. What I do is I'll supplement, I'll take some beef and add some real beef to this, freeze-dried beef, and it really makes a hearty meal. This is, right now, this can is 1 pound, 12 ounces. It's really 9 servings in just this one can. And the great thing is, in a survival situation, I use this can as well for boiling water. It's another source. So yeah, it's a little heavier, but I like the extra bit of meat and protein, but I like the cans as well. I also have in here kind of a condiment pouch, which has, and it's hard to see because I have it all sealed up, but in essence it has my coffees, my teas, my sauces, my spices, and of course everything tastes better with Tabasco sauce, right? So I've got a lot of that in there. Also lots of salt, pepper, and seasoning, so I can make that wild game taste really good. So it's important to have the seasonings in there. But for quick energy and stuff that you've got to have, this is when you get to camp, but you got to think how you're going to get there. Traveling when you're bugging out, you've got to have that energy level up. I've done a lot of venture racing and stuff, and you really get tuned into what your body can handle and how fast you can make it move and work hard. A lot of people tend to get dehydrated really quickly, or they let their electrolytes get too low. So I like to go to these guys here. When I know I'm bugging out, I'll turn around and take a few of these, slap them in my pockets so that I can get at them real quick. It's the goo. It assimilates into the system really quickly, and it keeps me going. A couple Cliff Bars in here, but a lot of goo. It works well. It doesn't taste so good, but it's going to give me that energy level that I need to keep me from going from highs to lows. It keeps me level and keeps me strong until I can get to the campsite, make a base camp, and then be able to cook a proper meal. That really helps, as well as your trail mix. This is trail mix that has a lot of freeze-dried fruits, papayas, raisins, again for carbohydrates, and there's nuts in here as well for protein. But this is a great snack food. This will keep your energy level going at a pretty constant rate. This has been shrink wrapped in, so this holds quite a bit. This is a couple days worth as well as this. So again, I'm going a little above what FEMA tells you to do. Say have 3 days. I'm about a month and a half. So to each his own. But I also have a family of 5, so they have their own foods, but I'm going to carry the majority of the weight and carry a lot of the extra food. Okay, so we'll get into the bottom part of the pack. Oh, also, again, I like to keep my my foods and my other survival products separate, so I kind of know what I need to grab and go. If I need my food, I'm going to grab my yellow one. But it's also, again, a water container. This is to collect if I'm around berries, I'm going to use this to collect berries, trash. It's also something that I can grab and tie off and then hang up into a tree if I'm in bear country to keep away from people. But it's also a signal device, so if I need to, I can use this for signaling. All right, so everything has multiple uses. All right. Okay, so in the bottom of the pack, this is a really neat backpack. It has basically two compartments. The bottom part's more for sleeping and your shelter. But in there, I also have pads, knee pads. If anyone's spent any time out in the woods, these are really good to be able to have, not just for your knees, but to be able to sit on and keep yourself dry and warm. But a good pair of pads is real important. Let's pull out what we got here. Also in the bottom here, I do have a backup to my other backup lights, and this one I've really grown to like a lot. It comes from Goal Zero, and it does have solar power, so you're able to collect the sun to charge the battery. If that's a rainy day and not working, you also have a wind-up generator, which is pretty good. The handle, on these could always be stronger. I wish they would make them out of metal, but this one's made out of plastic as well. But just be careful when you're winding it to not go overboard with the muscle. The nice thing about this one, is it does have a little hook here, so you have a forward light, LED lights of course, so they're going to last a lot longer, don't take a lot of power, but I like this big huge screen of lights, so at night this really does light up a campsite for a good long period of time. So really do like this light. I do have some extra twine, some rope. Really it's not that strong of cordage, but I usually use this to tie up the campsite, to be able to do lashing if I don't want to use my paracord. This stuff is really cheap, so I buy a lot of it, and it's just my throwaway rope once I get it, but you can never have too much cordage. I do have a figure 8 for rappelling that I normally keep on the outside here. Other things that I have, again, going back to the nylon bags, love those things. I have in here communications, which is my solar hand crank dynamo radio. It also has a flashlight as well, but this allows me to keep in contact, know what's going on. So communications is important. I have a pair of course sunglasses, more water purification, and some hygiene stuff. A lot of people overlook that, but I think it's important because you don't know how long you're going to be out, and the last thing you want to do is to give yourself away with smelling so bad. So I got just a nice bar of lava soap. It's real strong. It's a little small thing of Tide, so if you find that place that you have the ability to wash up, it helps your clothes last longer, helps you feel better, brings up your morale. And in here there's also toothpaste, wipes, stuff like that, just to kind of keep yourself clean. Also in the bottom, hidden away, is something real important. I do have a flash drive that basically has all of my data that I need if I'm out, that give me, from my home mortgage to my medical records to pictures of my family, everything that I have on my computer, the important stuff I have right here. So it's here for me. Other things I have in here are small, I don't know if you can see this, but they're diamonds. I have lots of little diamonds, from little itty bitty ones to half carats, sapphires, some pearls, but I just have basically collected lots of old jewelry from a business that we have, and then we've turned around and popped out the stones. They're great for bartering. If cash money is no good, if it goes to hell in a handbasket, diamonds, they've been around forever. Same thing with silver coins and also gold. So probably, I have in my hand, at today's value, somewhere in the $10,000 range. So really lightweight and useful, help get yourself out. I carried in a waterproof highly visible container, so everything's kept nice and safe and dry. So I got that. If you get older, reading glasses, not that I need them, but they're there for somebody else if you have to do some close-up work. So got that. This is actually my entire tent system, and I call it a system. And this has been one of those live and learn. How many times have you gone camping and walked away and hating life, saying, I cannot believe I slept the night on the ground again, okay? I don't care how well you prep the ground, it's always gonna hurt, it always sucks. So I found that this system works literally the best. So inside this tent roll-up, I have this tarp, all right? So this tarp serves really two purposes. One, to keep the elements off of you, but also has a reflective surface, and this will radiate all the heat that comes off of a campfire back onto you. Or if you just really are freezing and you wrap yourself up in this thing is really going to keep the body core temperature really hot. I love this one. The reason being, it's not like a space age blanket that is really thin and it's going to rip. You can only use it once. This one I've used again and again and again. It's as strong as a tarp. I mean, if I rig this over or something, I could lay on it. It's that strong. This we sell on our site. I love this. I mean, if you just had this alone, a knife, some cordage, and something to sterilize water, you're pretty golden. I do have this. Being in Arizona, I really don't need a ton. If I have this tarp, a good fire, reflective, I'll stay warm enough at nights. But when it's really cold, of course, I'll carry a sleeping bag. But for me, just this sleeping cover. This is the cover that actually goes over the sleeping bags. Again, it's a wind resistant, water repellent. It's a Gore-Tex kind of material. Zip yourself up in this, you'd stay warm. But it's really lightweight. It weighs nothing. And as well as the poncho liner that goes inside of your raincoat. This has a polyester blend mix. I like it better than the wool. One, it's lighter and it dries a lot faster when it does get wet. But this thing will tie up to your raincoat and keep you really super warm. But again, when you put this down, it's nice and cushiony and it keeps you super, super warm. The final one is the tent. I'm adamant about hammock tents. I cannot tell you the benefits that a hammock tent will carry over anything else. I don't care where you're at, whether you're in the forest and it's super damp and wet, this takes you off of that damp floor, keeps your body core temperature more even keeled. You can put this on edge of a slope, that is like this. As long as you have 2 anchor points, you could be sleeping on the edge of a cliff and be super comfortable. So it's not like you have to find a nice big open flat piece of land to be able to make your campsite. You can camp in places that most people won't look for you. So that's another great benefit. For me in Arizona, I cannot stand sleeping on the ground when it's summertime because we have way too many creepy crawlies that will sting you, bite you, kill you. It's just not a place that you want to be. There's always things that stick you. So this allows you to get yourself off the ground, and I can't even tell you how comfortable it is. All right? When you're in a survival situation, surviving and being comfortable, hand in hand. I think that you can still survive, but if you can survive with a little bit of comfort, it only makes, like as an example, your sleep be better. You're going to sleep deeper, more comfortably. Your body's going to recover faster so that you can keep moving forward. This is some of the best sleeping, I tell you what, when you get into this thing. It is really nice. And this system is nice because it's got an entire roof system, so it also acts as a rain catch. So if you needed to catch water and then have it all drip down into a cup, so you'll have that ability as well. It also has on the sides mosquito netting, so if you're in an environment that has a lot of mosquitoes, I don't know if you've ever tried to sleep when a million buzzing things are biting you, you're protected. So you're going to be able to have night's sleep or just get out of the elements. And again, this weighs really nothing. It's very lightweight, and it's really the only way to go when it comes to surviving. Even if it's in an urban environment, where there's rubble everywhere. 2 beams, you can hook yourself up and you've made yourself a campsite. You're not having to prep the ground as much as you would if you're carrying, a regular tent and then sleeping on the ground and then trying to get yourself, if it's really cold, you got to get yourself some type of insulation. This you don't have to worry about it because you're off the cold ground where it doesn't suck out the body temperature or your body heat. So there's just so many benefits, as well as if it's hot, you're off the hot ground and you have that convection airflow around you. It keeps you a lot cooler. So can't say enough about having a tent like this. This is by far the best system that I've seen out there. So that basically covers everything in this bug out kit. You're going back to the basics. You got to have your shelter, obviously, and it all folds up into a nice little tiny roll. Kept in the bottom of your pack here. You've got to definitely have first aid. That's really important. After first aid comes your water and how to filter your water. Not just carrying your water, but how do you filter it once you find it, all right? After you do that, you got to have food. The food comes in the form of the freeze-dried food or the ability to collect it, from having snare wire to all the other cordage is real important. And some type of protection, whether it be a handgun, a rifle, or Grovel. You've seen what that thing can do, and to have some type of cutting element. You've got to have yourself a knife or a Leatherman tool. It's a basic essential. Having the right clothes as well is real important, and having a few changes of clothes. But overall, it's the mental attitude. You can have all the best equipment in the world, but if you don't have it here, some type of basic knowledge of how this stuff all works, it's just equipment. It does nothing for you, right? So, most guys, like you see in some of the movies, they're like, okay, I only need this. Well, if you don't know what to do with this or how to use this, it's really just a big, heavy piece of metal, right? So I recommend you going onto YouTube, other YouTube channels, and watching some tutorials. There's a lot of things out there that will teach you basic survival bushman skills, how to fight, how to survive. You can't lose the knowledge. It's in there. Once it's in there, you've got it. And once you have it, no one can take that away from you. And those are the things that you're going to draw from, the knowledge that you have and the ability to survive. It gives you that confidence to know any situation that comes up, you're going to have it. To do and to get past that situation. This equipment just helps you make it there easier. All right, this should be packed up by the garage door, back of the truck, ready to go at all times. One for every person in your family. Now, for me, I got everything. For my kids, I monitor it a little differently. For them, it's more about the clothing. They'll still have the basics. They'll still have an edged weapon. They'll still have the cordage. They'll still have a canteen and a way to boil water. They'll know what to do with that. They'll have a little bit of food if they get separated from me, but they're not going to carry the heavy load. I'll carry the heavy load. My kids carry their basics essentials. Same thing with my wife. But there's a pack for every kid. Again, this is about a month bug out kit. It's just scalable. You scale down as you need it. If I'm going away for a trip, I'll take a few things and put it in a pack, but it's still always the essentials. It's always going to be some type of cordage, some type of cutting instrument. It's going to have water, food, and some way to boil water, and some type of shelter. Even if it's just this is going to be in there, because this just by itself can save your life. Okay, that's it. Go forth. Be safe. Prepare for the worst, hope for the best.